Apex Legends is the new battle royale game on the block, chock full of strange and interesting mechanics that we've never had to deal with in a battle royale game before. From the high-octane movement mechanics to the team-based hero shooting elements, it's going to take some time for players to truly master everything that's been thrown at us. Apex Legends is a completely different game to something like Fortnite, and even if you are one of the best in that game, your building ability doesn't mean anything in Apex. Even skills that you've learned in more similar battle royale games like PUBG and Blackout might not apply, because Apex Legends is just a completely different beast. With how successful the game has been over the past weeks, there's a high chance that Apex could be around for a while, so you're going to want to know some of the best tips to help you hit the ground running, or I guess sliding in Apex case. But before we get started, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and push that little bell so you know when we upload. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below with some tips and tricks you might have learned since you started playing the game. Number 7. Breaking down doors. One of the things that makes battle royale games in general so fun to play is that you just never know what's going to happen next. When you put a ton of people on a giant map, anything could happen, and Apex makes that even crazier with the addition of its legends. Unfortunately for these guys, in a clip that was posted on the Apex Legends Reddit, that crazy randomness led to them being locked in a room by the legend Caustic, who has an ability that plants down this big device which shoots out a bunch of poison gas. The device was placed down in such a way that when they opened the door, it just got jammed on the device and wouldn't open. They all got eliminated. That's because they didn't know that they could actually knock the door straight off of its hinges. In Apex Legends, you can melee a door, and instead of opening it, it'll just get blown apart. Now, you might think that you'll never get trapped in a room by a caustic device with no way out, so throwing out punches against doors will probably never be of any use to you, but that's where you're wrong. Have you ever been in a situation where you're trying to finish someone off, but they keep closing a door on you so you can't actually kill them? Well, by punching down doors in your way, that will never be an issue again. All you have to do is hit them twice. Number 6. Heirloom sets. There's one form of loot box drop that has had people very confused over the last couple days in Apex Legends. It was stated by Respawn Entertainment that the only items you would find in loot boxes would be purely cosmetic, but despite that, some people have managed to find an incredibly rare drop that can only be equipped onto the character Wraith. This drop is a part of Wraith's heirloom set, and at first glance it seems like it breaks all the rules of cosmetic-only loot packs. Surely, if you have a knife in your hands right at the beginning of the game, you're going to be in a better position than people who haven't managed to get the heirloom knife. What's worse is that you can only equip it onto one character, Wraith. Except that isn't really the case. If you've seen someone running around with a knife in your game and you've run away from them because you think it might be a one-hit kill or something crazy like that, then you don't have to worry because it actually is just a cosmetic item. Even though the sparking Wraith energy covered blade looks like it could do more damage with its melee hits, it can't. It just looks really cool. The only place that you can get this heirloom item is through the game's loot boxes, which can be purchased for 100 Apex coins each. You have a less than 1% chance to score the heirloom set in loot boxes, but there's also a form of bad luck protection that is active within the game. If you end up opening 500 packs, you're guaranteed an heirloom set, though that's basically the equivalent of $500. Number 5. Dynamic ranging marks. One of the many things that pretty much every battle royale game has in common is the way they treat their bullets. Almost all of the popular battle royale games out there treat their bullets as projectiles instead of hit scan, meaning they experience properties such as air drag and bullet drop. This means that, as opposed to hit scan games like Call of Duty's main multiplayer or some characters in Overwatch, you actually have to aim above and ahead of the people at range to be able to hit them. Apex Legends shares this trait, but if you have a sniper scope equipped onto one of your weapons, the game makes aiming at range easier than any other battle royale game out there. Sean Slayback, a senior game designer at Respawn, posted some pretty interesting information about the ranging marks that are on the sniper scopes on his Twitter account. He said that the ranging marks on every full-screen sniper optic in the game will always be accurate for the rifle that you're shooting. Even if you're at a different elevation than the person you're shooting at, you can actually see the mil dots reshuffle in real time as you aim far up or far down, so you can accurately use the rangefinder to tag long-range headshots. Sean Slayback also said that the people who worked on this feature at Respawn thought it was an industry first, so it's definitely something you should keep in mind when you're engaging an enemy at extreme ranges. Number 4. Epic versus Legendary. Much like any other battle royale game on the market, Apex Legends uses the tried and tested color coding system to rank the rarity of its items. In Apex Legends, this means that items go from common items being gray, rare being blue, epic is purple, and then legendary is gold. As you probably expect, the common items are the weakest and the legendary items are the strongest, but that distinction might not be as simple as it initially seems. The differences between gold and purple class attachments, shields, helmets, and backpacks isn't like any of the other tier differences. For example, if you manage to get a golden helmet or a golden piece of armor, the amount of damage that they actually stop you from taking is the same. A similar thing can be said of the golden backpack and the golden knockdown shield. The only difference between the gold variants of these items and the purple versions is the additional abilities that come with the golden loot. The gold armor allows you to regenerate your shields if you execute an enemy. You can't do that with a purple shield. Basically, if you only have epic tier loot instead of legendary tier loot, you shouldn't be too afraid of getting involved in a fight. You're just as effective either way. The only time legendary loot really matters in an actual fight is when you get the golden mastiff shotgun or the golden crabber sniper rifle. Those are weapons truly worthy of their legendary status. Number 3. Slide jumping. When a new competitive multiplayer game comes out, it takes a while for people to get used to the new mechanics to develop the best ways to play the game. But it seems like there are already certain tactics when it comes to gunfights that can drastically improve your chances of winning your fights. For example, if you're someone who has a history of playing a lot of Fortnite Battle Royale or Blackout, then you may have a habit of bunny hopping every time you get into a fight, but that's not really gonna work in Apex Legends. In this game, the movement mechanics are a whole lot smoother, and because of that, there are much better ways to juke your enemies in the midst of a gunfight. At its core, Apex Legends seriously rewards aggressive and close quarters combat. At longer distances, your bullet velocity is slow enough that gunfights can become incredibly difficult if you aren't incredibly accurate. And there's so many readily available healing items that long-range gunfights can end up eating deeply into your precious ammunition resources. But when you actually manage to get up and personal with your enemies, what sort of movement should you be trying to make use of? The best thing to do is to slide jump. The short burst of speed from zipping around the map with a slide jump is enough to throw almost anyone off their shot, especially if they're too used to the bunny hop nature of other games. You have to remember that sliding isn't just a way to get around the map quickly and effectively, but it can also be used in the heat of battle. Number 2. Color-coded damage. As we've mentioned a few times in this video so far, shields are a pretty important item in Apex Legends. They come in 4 different rarities, with the common rarity giving you 2 bars of shield and the purple or gold rarity giving you 4 bars of shield. Just like any other Battle Royale game with a tiered shielding system, you're at an immediate disadvantage if you pick a fight with someone who has a higher tier of shield than you. By default, it means that they have more health than you. So obviously, if you get into a fight with them, they have a higher chance of winning. In all Battle Royale games, it can be difficult to work out what level of shield your enemies are working with when you fight them, but that's made a lot easier in Apex Legends because of their damage display system. When you land hits on an enemy, the amount of damage you do will float up and away from them. But what you might not have realized is that these numbers are actually color-coded. If you deal red damage, then your enemy doesn't have any shields at all. But if you do color damage to an enemy, then that enemy has the same type of shield as the color the damage is. If it's purple damage, then they have a purple shield, and so on. With this knowledge in mind, you'll be able to easily decide if you want to push on a fight, or if the people you're battling have way too much armor for you to deal with. Number 1. The hot zone. While there are definitely some locations that are better to drop than others in Apex Legends, there's no place that is for sure the best for you to always drop. And that's because of a mechanic that is unique to the game known as the hot zone. The hot zone is an area on the map that changes every game you play. If you look on your map when you start the game, it'll show up as a big blue circle. Going there to loot gives you a drastically increased chance of pulling high tier loot, and you even get the chance to acquire a completely kitted out golden weapon. That's something that usually only ever spawns in supply drops. The hot zone is called the hot zone for a reason though. If you go there, you can be sure to encounter a whole bunch of people with the same aspirations of pulling some high tier loot. It's a high risk, high reward strategy, similar to School in PUBG or Tilted Towers in Fortnite. But if you manage to make it work, you'll be in a great position for the rest of the game. Well, that's a wrap on our video of the top 7 things you need to know if you're playing Apex Legends. Did you know any of the things that were mentioned in this video? Do you know about any other secrets that we missed out on? As always, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for even more awesome gaming content. Thanks guys, and I'll see you on the next one.